And welcome back. We are here at Fly Boys in Beaver Creek. Next hour, talking about Wright State University men's basketball with the head coach, Scott Nagy, and, of course, my broadcast partner right down there to the right, left on your screen. And, yes, the legendary Hall of Fame coach, Jim Brown, is with us here again tonight.
You're too nice.
Oh, well, no, wait a minute, Coach. You earned that over 40-plus years.
Yeah,
Come on now.
right.
I mean, you're a media mogul right now, too, from what I understand.
Well, Tom Archdeacon says I turned to the dark side.
Is that what it is?
I kind of agree with him.
All right. Well, the Raiders coming off a tough loss at Indiana State on Saturday by 6 points. But Coach Nagy, I know you just passed along some information, and basketball is a game, but it's also life, and really some tough news for your team today. Skylar Potter, the freshman, lost his mother, stepmother.
Yeah,
it's really sad to hear that.
We got back Saturday night and got up Sunday morning and had a text from him, and it was sudden. It wasn't anything that was expected, and she had a heart attack and passed away. And so you kind of feeling sorry for yourself because you can't win a basketball game, and then you realize what's really important. And so we had yesterday off and trying just with the team today and making sure they understood. Skyler's at home now. We told him just do whatever he needs to do, obviously to be with his family, but he wants to get back here hopefully by tomorrow night, just because I think being around his team might be what's best for him.
And getting to know Skyler like we have, being a freshman here, he loves his family. I mean, he loves them so much to be around them. We've seen that at a few of the games, already this year, and you can just see the smile on his face. Yeah. And I'm sorry, what was that? Need a microphone? Okay. But we apologize for that. But to have something like this, a young man away from college, from high school and back into college, with finals coming up and all these other things. But like you said, it puts it into perspective. It's just a tough thing for him.
Obviously his dad's not doing well, and he's got a younger sister that is there at the house, and so. Yeah, there's just a lot going on besides basketball, that's for sure.
Coach, you have to deal with a lot of things. Like you said, a tough loss, at Indiana State, and then you get news like this. You're never prepared, to be able to, what are you going to do in this situation, as a leader of young men in this situation?
Well, and for us, I just want to make sure our players understood that we'll just rally around him and really be a good support system for him. That's what we need to do. That's what families do, and so we're going to do everything we can do to take care of him. The wake is on Thursday, and so we'll get on a bus on Thursday and go down and be with him, and then come back. And so, we have some games to play, obviously, in the middle of all that, but there's a heck of a lot going on.
There is, Coach. It's never a very easy situation, something like this. And, of course, our thoughts and prayers, go to Skyler's family. In shocking news that his stepmother has passed away. Being able to deal with a team, you've already talked to them, you've addressed that, you talk about as a team, they will go down in respect to the family on Thursday. But then again, it's difficult. It's difficult to come. What can you say about this?
Just put yourself in my position this morning when I got to stand up in front of them, and they all know by that point. But to talk about it, and then to move on to basketball, like this is even important right now. Yeah. But yet games are coming. There's nothing we can do about that. We have to learn from the Indiana State game. We have to get ready for Miami, and then in the middle of that is the really important stuff. And so it was an awkward morning for me, for sure, to try to talk about those things and then talk about Indiana State and talk about trying to get ready for Miami.
Well, and talking about the game, we were going to show some highlights, but Greg, in light of the news that we had right now, I just think that's totally irrelevant to talk about. That game's past, and it's now just this team and what direction that they're heading right now, Coach. But once you do get back on the floor, the most important thing is family. It always has been since you've come here to Wright State. But getting everybody back together as a group collectively and getting prepared for the game against Miami on Wednesday.
And there still is basketball and things to do and get ready for. And we talked about the Indiana State game a little bit and watched some of the film. And I told the guys this morning that. And I was just talking to Coach about this. By far, it's the toughest schedule that I've ever coached against in the non-conference. There's no question about it. Our road games are incredibly tough, And that Indiana State is very good. It was 4-1. We're getting ready to go to Kent State here this Saturday. They're 7-1. We still have to go to Mississippi State. I mean, so we have a very tough schedule. And so my concern is just, because there is such high expectations, it's just the start of the season, but a little concerned that it'll affect the players' confidence in terms of how they're playing. And so, I talked to him about that, but I also talked to him about just how important it is that all the little stuff, off the floor, on the floor, how important it is, because it all shows up on the floor if you're not taking care of business. And our players are just understanding, really seeing for the first time what it's like to have high expectations and how other people look at you and how hard everybody's going to play against you to measure themselves. And so, I think it's been a little bit of a shock to them. But I did think in the Indiana State game, in terms of how hard we played, we got to the level we needed to. Now, we didn't perform as well. It's hard to have your center go 5 for 17 and not shoot a free throw. And I think some of that was just Loud and particularly early not being physical. But we need him to shoot a higher percentage. I mean, he makes a couple more shots, it changes the entire game. And so, but I thought our players played hard. We took a team that was out rebounded people by 6. We out rebounded them by 6, and that tells me our guys are playing hard.
You said after the game to Coach Brown on the post-game interview, you said, and early in the game, it just didn't seem like that sense of urgency was there. But in the second half, you really, really saw that. Some shots just didn't fall in certain situations.
Yeah, but we have to stop starting games like that. And I think the biggest factor, quite honestly, is we have a center, Loudon, who is not used to being the main focus, and never has been. His entire career, his entire basketball career has not been the main focus. When he was a junior in high school, he had Nate Navigado on Toledo's team, who was the main focus. Loudon's always been the second or third guy. And he's always been a football player that plays basketball. Well, he doesn't play his senior year, and so there was no focus on him. Comes in, redshirts his freshman year. Last year he wasn't the focus. And now all of a sudden, in the first time in his life here, he's 19 years old, and he is the focus. And it's something that he's adjusting to and is going to have to make some adjustments to and accept the responsibility of it, because there is a big responsibility when everybody looks at you as going to be the best player.
And one thing, Coach, real quick, that I noticed in the game is that his teammates, though, which is so important for him, they kept trying to get him the ball because they believe in him, and trust is so huge.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen what he can do when he's really in a good frame of mind, and he's obviously struggled the past 2 games. He was shooting 60 in the 60s before the Cedarville game, and then he's just had 2 games in a row where he's really struggled to put the ball in the basket.
I do think you're right. I think he's kind of trying too hard at times. Just feels like he's got to do this and do that, and he'll get past that. But I was impressed on Saturday, first off, that he got 17 shots. Now, he missed some easy ones, but we did a great job of getting the ball into him, and he worked a little harder to get himself open, I thought.
Yeah, and some of it is we want him to catch the ball deeper. I mean, a post player can catch the ball anywhere he wants. I mean, sometimes you don't have to work. You just walk off the paint, catch it at 12 feet. Well, I mean, I could catch the ball at 12 feet. What I want him to do, because of his size and quickness, he needs to catch the ball at 3 or 4 feet. And then they can't double team him, and he's quick enough to make the moves. And so, it just is like in the first half, he was a little bit in his daze. We call it his daze phase, where he just is not completely focused. And then the second half, he was much more aggressive, got better shots, and they made some good plays on him, too.
Well, yeah, they did. The center on their team.
Yeah, he did a good job.
He did a really good job. He was physical. He blocked a couple shots. But I think sometimes when you reverse the basketball and they get it in there quick, because it's got to be a quick pass. I've always said the pass to the post is the most difficult pass to make in basketball.
It is. But think about this, Coach. I mean, and you coach a lot of players, and I've coached a lot of players. How many players have you coached that have taken, I don't care if it's a post player or guard, taken 17 shots in a game and didn't go to the free throw line one time? Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that because the officials didn't call the game well, because I'm fine with the way the officials called the game. I thought it was a physical game. Fine, let us play. Loudon's got to figure out a way to get the free throw line. And some people say, well, why would you want him on the free throw line? He's not shooting well. Because I know he's capable of it. And the more he gets there, the more comfortable he'll get.
Exactly. And there's a lot of reasons why you want to go to the free throw line. You put fouls on the other team. You get in the 1-1 quicker. And I think sometimes Loudon settles for a fadeaway rather than taking his time and getting to the basket.
Yeah, he ends up taking a 10-foot jump hook every once in a while, and he knows that frustrates me. But again, he's still he's still learning how to play. He's in just the beginning, so he's gone 2 full years of making basketball focus for him, where football has been a focus most of his life.
Yeah, and let's not forget, he's been in double figures every single game.
Yeah.
He's had, 5 or 6?
He's averaging a double-double.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm being nice,
I know, but we're sitting here talking about him, and he's averaging 15 and 10.
I know,
Like things are completely falling apart. And so, but I think that tells you how good he is, and how good we think he is.
Well, when he's out of the game, our offense is totally
Well,
different.
and I tell you, our defense is even worse when he's out of the game.
Yeah.
That's the thing that people don't understand about him is how he affects our defense and how much of an anchor he is on the inside.
Well, not only that, but the focus, too, over the weekend, too, against Indiana State. Jim and I both were impressed with the 2 guards, Barnes and Key, for
good.
Indiana State. Very good. It seemed like Barnes was just under control the whole game. He made some tough shots.
He is, in my opinion, maybe the best guard we've faced this year. It could be the best guard we face all year, and he weighs 150 pounds. It's amazing, but he's in complete control.
Absolutely.
Can't speed him up, can't pressure him. A tremendous shooter, and it's hard to even keep him from shooting threes. Like, it was one of our, we had a focus to not let him shoot threes. He still got 7 threes off and made 5 of them, and some of them weren't easy shots. No. It just goes back to, and I understand this, that college basketball is primarily about the guards. It just is. You can have a good center. And quite frankly, Indiana State center's a good player, but he's an average player. Now, he's big, and he helps them defensively, and he rebounds the ball. But they have 2 guards that are elite guards, and they're going to beat a lot of people because they have 2 great guards.
He reminded us, a lot of Horizon League fans, the coach made the comparison of Kiefer Sykes, who was at Green Bay. He was a lot like him, and maybe even better, Coach Brown.
Oh, he's better. I mean, that's as good a guard as I've seen in a long, long time. And you're exactly right. You look at him, and you would think he's a high school junior. I mean, he's skinny. He doesn't look like he elevates. But the thing I was impressed with is there was no shenanigans on the floor. The Murray State guy, I didn't have any use for how he composed himself on the floor. This young man played with tremendous class, and I think he's better. I mean, he can shoot the ball better. He's just as quick.
He's not 6'3", though, and jumps completely out of the gym like the kid from Murray.
Well, they all get infatuated, but that guy has yet to make a three-point shot, I think, and if he has aspirations to play at the next level, he's going to have to learn how to do that. This young man already knows how to do that, and he's got NBA range. Wouldn't you agree? I mean,
oh, he does, and Coach Cooley knows this, that the point guard that we got out of the suburbs of Chicago this year, Trey Calvin, is a lot like him. Okay, he handles himself that way. He shoots it that way. As a matter of fact, he was just 2 assists shy of a triple-double the other night. And so, we're excited to get our hands on him because we feel like we're going to have a guard like him.
Well, you have one just, he's not as athletic, but Cole Gentry composed himself out on the floor at the highest level. I mean, guy.
Cole, he had no turnovers and 9 assists the other day.
Played 39 minutes, something like that?
39 minutes and 46 seconds, Coach.
And I know we just can't play him that much. We really can't. Yeah. We need Malachi to come along and take some of those minutes from him. And we're going to see when we play Miami on Wednesday night, they're really going to pressure Cole. They're going to pressure him full court, try to wear him down. And so we're going to have to figure out some things just to give him some breaks.
All right, we'll take a break here from Flyboys in Beaver Creek. Be back with more of the Scott Nagy Show in just a moment. This is Wright State University basketball.
Along with Hall of Fame coach Jim Brown, we're here with the Wright State head coach of the men's basketball team, Scott Nagy. Be here till about 6:30. And then we have Bill Wampler, and along with Grant Basili, we'll be talking with later on here between 6:30 and 7 o'clock. The Raiders next in action against the Red Hawks of Miami University. That's Wednesday night at Wright State's Nutter Center. It's a 7 o'clock tip. 6:45 our pregame on the radio. But, Coach, last year Miami is a team that defeated the Raiders on the road in Oxford. Wasn't a pretty game, but then again, you know what to expect. You talked about them a little bit. You expect a lot of pressure from their guards on your point guard this coming Wednesday.
Well, and it'll be full court. Once they get in the half court, it's not so much pressure, but they have two guards that are really tremendous at it. Last year's game you mentioned, we lost in overtime. We were a mess. I think that was our third loss in a row to start 0-3, and our team was in bad shape at that point. A lot of problems, and we got some of those straightened out, obviously. But we're still struggling here. Now both teams are 4-4, and have been good at home and struggled on the road. And so, like I say, I think he would like to see his Jack would like to see his team come on the road and play well. And certainly, we need to get going.
Talking about getting going, Bill Wampler, who'll be joining us here in just a little bit, you look at the stats, shot the ball really well against Indiana State. It's great to see that offense back from Bill.
Yeah, there was no concern from the coaching staff that any of that would happen. I think what we're most pleased with Bill is that his defense is improving, and that's what we've been wanting. Is for his defense to get better, and I think that he's made that a focus, and it's starting to happen.
Balanced scoring is something that you like to see all the time. Any coach would want to see that through the first 8 games, 4 players averaging, in double figures. Obviously, you like to see, some increases and more consistency from that end. I know you talked about defense being it, but from the offensive end, is that what you're looking for, a lot more consistency collectively?
Yeah, I would just say from our basketball team, I mean, we've had games where we score in the high 80s, and then we've had games where we struggle to score and we're in the 50s, and so we have not been consistent, and I think particularly on the road, we've not been very good. Now, the other night we played Cedarville, and we can barely muster 60 points. We just can't. We couldn't shoot the ball at all that night. We really struggled against the zone, and so we've been very inconsistent offensively. I thought to this point we would be a little bit better.
You haven't played you haven't played a consistent both halves together, your best basketball yet in a game. Do you feel? I thought the Toledo game was the closest to that, and then the SMU game. Offensively,
offensively we were really good that entire game, but we just couldn't get them stopped.
I want to ask you something that doesn't have anything to do with what we're doing here. Is you have a son that's a senior at Bellbrook High School. He's a basketball player. Yeah. And I went through the same thing. I had a son that was a basketball player, and as a college coach, you have your commitments with college, but I know you stayed home on Friday night to watch TJ play at Bellbrook. And how difficult is that? I mean,
well, difficult in terms that I can't watch him play all the time, or difficult to watch him play? Well, no. I mean because sometimes parents get so uptight watching their kids play, and I don't.
Yeah.
I don't, and I stay out of it. I'm not a very involved parent. In other words, I never talk to the coach, never do any of that. I think because I am a coach,
that's right.
Whatever that coach decides,
good thing to do.
Whatever that coach decides, I mean that's the deal. Because I've always told my kids, hey, your coaches aren't trying to lose games. They want to win games, and they see you all the time. And so whatever decisions they make, I'm in on it. Now, and I certainly support you, but this is coming from a coach's perspective. Now, my wife gets mad at me sometimes because she wants me to be on my kids' side. And so I'm actually on both their sides.
Yes.
But I don't get to see all his games. But all of my boys, and not just basketball. My daughter's in dance. My other daughter cheers. I don't get to see all those either.
Yeah.
And so I think if you're a child that grows up in a coach's family, you just understand it. That's part of the deal.
It is hard, but you did get to see him play on Friday night. That was great. So you cherish those opportunities that you do have.
Yeah, and it works out good this year because my youngest daughter Naik is a cheerleader on the varsity squad, and
that's
so
a 2-for-1.
Yeah, I get to see both of them at the same time.
Well, that's got to be exciting, to be able to watch your kids because it goes so fast. I mean, the time just goes by so fast, and you have that opportunity. You really have to seize it.
Yeah, I mean, TJ's done after this year in terms of high school, and Natalie's a junior. But in 3 years, we have empty nest. We have empty nest, and so it's going to go fast.
Did they ever come to you and ask for like coaching advice?
No.
Do they?
No, well, I used to after the boys' games in particular, I'd say, well, do you want dad or do you want coach? But because
There's a difference.
There is a difference.
Yeah.
There's a difference, but sometimes there's not in terms of, like, if I was a dad or a coach in terms of attitude or things like that, I'd say the same thing.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you may want to talk about, hey, you need to be more aggressive here or there, or sometimes they don't want to hear that, and they just want you to be supportive, and so. I try never, just like my dad. I tell you, my dad never gives me advice. He never gives me advice unless I ask him for it.
He gives all his advice to officials.
Yeah, and that and my assistant coaches. Now
Okay,
he talks to
right.
my assistant coaches more than he talks to me.
Yeah. Oh, he's fun. I haven't seen him yet this year. Is he going to be joining us here at home anytime soon?
He'll be around.
Okay, we
You'll
can't miss
hear
him
him.
definitely. Oh, yeah, no question about that.
Well, he was at the Western Carolina game. I saw him there. But you talk about the fact that as a coach and having a son that plays, I think it's beneficial to the son to have a coach as a dad, because you understand what the high school coach is going through. And my wife and I had the same discussions. I mean, she always took Anthony's side. I always took the coach's side, and there were some issues that way. But I mean, it is, I think, as a coach, you understand exactly what he's going through.
Yeah. And it's been my experience that if even if I coach a coach's son, one of two things: they're either the best parents ever or the worst parents ever. Because I've had both. In terms of them being in my ear and wanting to do those things, but. I watched how my dad handled it. He never got involved with my coaches, and so I've never have gotten involved with my kids' coaches.
How can you separate that? Because that's blood, that's family. The emotion gets caught into that. That just says a lot, about how you're able to separate that.
But I also think it goes to like, you want what's best for your children, okay?
Yeah.
But is what's best for my children that everything go the way they want to all the time?
Well,
No. I had a son, Tyler Nagy, who played college basketball, but didn't get to play a lot, but handled it tremendously.
Yes.
And I could continue to tell my wife, because my wife was bothered by he should play more, he should play more. And I said, hon, I'm so much more proud of how he's handling, the kind of teammate he's being, because that takes you farther in life than whether or not you just get to play as much as you want to play.
There was an absolute perfect example of that this weekend at Alabama. There's a perfect example. The quarterback that had the starting position lost it to a young freshman and stuck with the program.
Yeah, and I tell you, we have one on our team, in Alan Best, who has been a tremendous teammate and is now getting to see some of the fruits.
Yeah, great.
Well, you talk about family, and it's so important. Of course, anybody who's joining us here tonight may be late for the show. We got some bad news for freshman Skylar Potter, who lost his stepmother, tragically sudden death. On Saturday. The team is going to go be with him, on Thursday. And, Coach, you mentioned he said he's going to try to be there Wednesday. But you told him, hey, do what you got to do.
Yeah. Because he was like, when do you want me? I said, Skylar, you just take care of your family. Don't worry about basketball. We'll handle things. But he wants to get back here tomorrow night, and he wants to play. I think partly because, he knows we'll be a good support system for him. He loves basketball. It'll help him get it off his mind. And just be around some people that care about him.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing. That's a great thing about being on a team. They'll support him and they'll give him encouragement, and hopefully he can make it back, because he's going to need that kind of encouragement and support and prayers and all those things.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. Thank you for your time. We got Bill Wampler and Grant Basile with us for the next half hour. We thank everybody for coming out here to Fly Boys in Beaver Creek, and we'll be back with more. And we continue with the Scott Nagy Show here in Beaver Creek in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Bob Grody, class of 1976 and former Raiders player and coach. Did you know that once you're a Wright State grad, you're automatically a member of the Alumni Association? As a member, tap into the Wright State Network, attend a local alumni event, and earn discounts and special offers. Log on to WrightStateAlumni.com and make the most of your membership. Thank you, and go Raiders.
And welcome back. We are here at Fly Boys in Beaver Creek. Back again next week for the Scott Nagy Show. The Raiders back in action this coming Wednesday. They'll be taking on the Miami Redhawks at 7 o'clock at Wright State University's Nutter Center. Thanks, everybody, for coming out here tonight. We appreciate it. Getting a little cold. It's December in Ohio. You never know. It could be 60 one day and 30 the next, but that's just the way it is. But this guy can't complain about the weather. He grew up in stuff a lot worse than what we're dealing with. Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
My mom,
Bill
she
Wampler.
talked to me the other day.
Yeah.
I was 65 yesterday or 2 days ago,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I talked to her, and she's like, "We just got 2 feet of snow." She didn't send me a video, and there's like a blizzard out there, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not jealous of you at all. I definitely don't miss home right now. It's living like tropical down here for me."
Well, Wisconsin, it is home for you. We had you on last year. We talked about, high school for you, great athlete. I got to throw this at you at the top, all right? You, Grant, who's here with you tonight, a few of the other players and people part of the traveling party, including myself, Green Bay Packer fans, all right? They fired their coach yesterday.
Right.
They don't waste time, do they?
No, I think that was a must-win game for us against the Cardinals, and obviously, it's sad to see Mike McCarthy go. He's a good coach for us for 13 years, and he got us a Super Bowl and had a lot of success under him. And he's a good guy, but I think just his schemes weren't getting done anymore, so we just kind of had to move on.
It shows you the passion, of the Packer fans and that organization. They don't wait around and hold on to somebody if they're not getting results.
Yeah, I think we were really close this year to being either 7-3 or where we're at now. We could have lost those games and even been like 2-10 right now. So it just shows you how, like with all sports, how the inches matter and everything like that. And there's some plays you can think of, like the Ty Montgomery fumble out of the end zone.
Oh yeah, I guess the Rams.
The Clay Matthews roughing the passer against the Vikings, which obviously basically lost the game for us, and so a lot of things like that. But it's just it was a tough year for the Packers this year.
Bill, refresh my memory. Did you play other sports other than basketball in high school?
Yeah, I played football my freshman, sophomore year in high school, and then I played soccer my junior and senior high school.
Oh,
and
wow.
So I like soccer a lot, but we had a good football program, and so I played football growing up, and all my friends played football. I had a lot of good friends who play at NDSU, North Dakota State.
Yeah.
And the kicker there who kicked the game-winning field goal against Iowa was my best friend growing up. So it's like I love football, and it's one of the favorite things. But we ran the ball a lot, and I was a tight end, and I wanted to catch the ball a little bit, but I had to block every play. So I was like, I'll just go play
So
soccer.
that's really an unusual transition. You went from playing football your freshman and sophomore year to soccer as a junior and senior. Now, soccer's a skill sport. I mean, it's a kind of sport that is similar to basketball. I think it's a little easier to kick a white ball around on grass than it is to shoot a basketball.
I played goalie, so
you
it
played?
it wasn't that hard.
Oh, well, that's what
I
I
always stuck the big basketball kid in the goalie.
Yeah.
So like it was
Well,
pretty easy.
let me ask you this. I mean, you played soccer, and the criticism us Americans have about soccer is there's no scoring, and you play basketball, which is up and down all the time. Right. Soccer's that way too if you're on the field, but as a goalie, you can be down there and you could almost.
You can just be sitting there most of the game, especially if you're playing a team that's not very good. The ball will stay on their half, but I think people underestimate how challenging it is to be a goalie just because of how much you have to direct your defense, and you're really talking the whole entire game and just yelling. And I would lose my voice often, but it's just good to be able to play different sport. And I think that was kind of around. I went to a really small high school, and kind of everyone played different sports. And I think that's kind of what kept friends for me, was just being able to play different sports as well.
What was your basketball program like? One of the things as a coach I always looked at was success in the basketball program. I like to recruit kids that came from successful basketball programs. What was your high school experience like?
My senior year we went 26-1. We lost in the state championship.
That's
game.
pretty good.
So I think we had my class was the winningest class I think in my high school's history, and I broke the all-time leading scorer record, and then the year after, my best friend was a junior, broke my record the year after. So we had quite a bit of talent that year. He ended up playing Division II for Minnesota Duluth, and he's still playing there now. He's a junior there. And we've always had a pretty successful history for basketball. Kid, right when I got there for my freshman year, he went to Samford, played Division I basketball at Samford University, and had several kids go on and play college basketball. And my coach coached all of my brothers, and he coached at my high school for 31 years, I'm pretty sure. So he had a good relationship with my family, and it was kind of just nice to be able to play for someone like that.
Our game with Indiana State was the first time Wright State had ever played Indiana State, but you were familiar with that arena because you were at Drake. Drake's in the Missouri Valley. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think I played Indiana State 5 times. I think we played them in the conference tournament one time.
Arch Madness.
Arch Madness down in St. Louis. So really familiar with their coaching staff, and I knew Jordan Barnes and Bronson Kessinger pretty well. And obviously Jordan Barnes was really good. He was a freshman when I was a sophomore, and that you could see right away he was a really good player, and he's developed into what we thought he was going to be. And just playing there, it's fun. Obviously, think we played there on 80s night when I sophomore year, and that was fun because they had all the old logos, and like I think Larry Bird was there and stuff like that. So it's a fun place to be at. They have a pretty good crowd, and the crowd was really into it in our game. So
it's a really nice arena, and they have Chris took a picture of Larry Bird. He got a statue out front. A lot of history in that building. A lot of history in that building.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Larry Bird plays there. It's like it's one of the most historic arenas ever. Yeah.
You appeared comfortable. Obviously, you talked about that in the game, and you scored 14 points before when you were a member of Drake when you went into that building. So it helps to be able to be comfortable, especially when you head on the road.
Yeah, I think it's being familiar with teams, and especially coming from where I was and just showing how far I've came from where I was at Drake to where I am now. And I think Coach Lansing knew that, like, saw the improvement throughout the year, and he talked to me and said it was fun to watch me play this year and see me actually not be restrained by a coach and have somebody who trusts me completely. And I think I told him it's just a lot easier to play for somebody who has 100% faith in you and doesn't like I have more freedom with Coach Nagy because he trusts me that I'm going to make the right decision.
And that's the key word right there. It's trust not only with the coaches but also, with your players and your players on your team. And after 8 games, after sitting out a year, that was really difficult. We hear that all the time when we talked to you last year. That was so frustrating for you to not be able to participate, but that's the transfer rules.
Yeah, for sure.
So give us your I guess analysis of how you've done to this far through 8 games, the things that do you feel that you're comfortable with or things you continue to need to work on?
I think that was my first game where I was 100% comfortable for the whole game. I think I played hard for all the minutes I was in. I can't say that about every single game this year so far, and I think that's just kind of getting my legs under me and figuring things out defensively, and which is just because understanding the guy I'm guarding and when I can help, and I think I could be a really good defensive guy for us because I'm a pretty versatile player, and I have size, I'm strong, and I can guard a lot of different positions, and I think once I figure it out defensively, it can be a real asset for us to be able to guard multiple positions for us and just be able to be like another guy like Mark, and Mark's a great defender. He has length, and I'm taller than Mark, so I can hopefully move my feet as well as him eventually, but that's kind of what we're working
Well, you can get a lot of help, too, from guys like Parker Ernsthaus, because communication is so big, right, Coach, when you play defense?
Yeah. It's a team thing. Everybody's got to help each other out.
I think that's one thing I came in with because I was an older guy. I was always talking. I remember Parker, one of the first things he said to me, I was on my visit, and we were playing open gym, and I was talking with Parker, and Parker obviously talks a lot, and he complimented how much I talked because, like, usually the recruit doesn't talk a lot during open gym, but obviously I'm kind of a veteran guy, so I kind of understand how it has to be played. So,
couple things, I kind of watch those things on the video board. They play at timeouts, where they ask players different questions, and they ask who the best dressed is, and you are the hands down winner, my friend.
GQ.
Yeah, I take pride in that. And, I think I have a unique style. I'm not afraid to wear anything, and I think that's what makes me the best dressed is because I can pretty much wear whatever I want. Like my roommates Cole and Adam. And Lou, they'll see something on TV, like, I can totally see you wearing that. And I'm like, can you see me not wearing something? And I'm like, they're like, no, because I'll wear whatever. But love tight clothes, kind of have that European cut. My roommates at Drake were all from Europe. So I think that's kind of where I picked up a lot.
Well, the European look is a lot different. There's no question. I was
sure.
over there this summer. There's a distinct look to the European.
Yeah, and I think I kind of just stole a little bit of each of their style and just kind of made it my own.
We need to find some pictures of some former players, when they go on the road, dress up a little bit. I remember Vaughn Duggins, his freshman year. We went to Ball State. He was wearing an entire white suit. It was all white. I think the players were teasing him and calling him Elvis on the entire trip.
Vaughn's got some European, he played over there. I've noticed Vaughn has that European look. I've said this to you before, Bill. I'm so impressed with the fact that you get your shot off quick, but you're more than a catch and shoot type player. You lead the team in free throws. I mean, that's saying something. We'd like Loudon to shoot more free throws, but you have made twice as many as anybody else on the team, and that's indicative of the fact that you're just not going to settle. You're going to take the ball to the basket.
Yeah, I think I've almost shot as many free throws, or close to as many free throws as I did at my sophomore year at Drake, too. I think it's just kind of that development of my game and being more comfortable off the dribble. And I think I was more of a catch and shoot guy at Drake, and I just kind of be able to – I'm not going to out-quick anybody. I'm going to be able to just use angles and being smarter than a lot of people and just getting that little advantage where I can get to spots and – just creating, I think if I get to the rim a lot, and a lot of times I'm not going to make the shot sometimes, but I'll try to get fouled a lot of the times. And I think because I'm so strong and I'm sneaky athletic. Like, I'll get up there a little bit, but so like they'll probably foul me if I get up there. But I try to make it a point. Coach Nagy wants us to get to the rim, and if Loudon can't get anything produced for us at the rim or even get to the free throw line, he's been struggling from the free throw line as well. And we needed somebody else to be able to kind of get to the free throw line pretty consistently. That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, that takes a level of confidence too, because when you shot fake and you put it on the floor, there's going to be people coming to help, and you got to have confidence to do that you're not going to lose the ball.
Yeah, I think I even from the first 4 games, I've seen a development in getting to the rim and making better decisions.
Absolutely,
and jump
I've
stopping.
noticed the same thing.
Sometimes I would just try to outstrong people a lot during the early in the season, just kind of jump into them and use my muscle to try to score. But now I'm kind of getting pivots, reverse pivots, and trying to get better angles to make better decisions or even passing the ball up. For
we touched on this a little bit, but that again gets back to trust, with your teammates. And it appears to me, getting to that point, Loudon, he struggled, had 17 shots. We talked about that with Coach Nagy, and he's the focus of the other team's defense, but then again, he trusts his teammates, and you guys really made a great effort to get him the ball and get him in position to score.
Yeah, I think he knows we trust him, and I think he's probably the most disappointed out of anybody.
Oh, sure. He's hard on himself.
Yeah, he's incredibly hard on himself. And I talk to him every day about it. I think we're probably too hardest on each other. We're hard on each other and ourselves. But that's how we get better. We always make sure we get in the gym and working on all that stuff. And so it's going to go in. Eventually, it's going to figure it out.
This team is always, it's well prepared. You know what to do going into a game and the opponent you're taking on. But each player individually is responsible for how they prepare themselves mentally for a game. What does Bill Wampler do to get ready for a game?
I kind of have a weird routine. Home's different than away, but I think the hardest part is my hair. I do a weird routine with my hair. I will have to wash my hair. I only wash my hair like once every 4 days or something like that, but it's every time I'll try to schedule it before games, and then 20 minutes it takes me to do my hair, blow dryer, everything. It's my little routine, and then I'm always the first one on the court usually. I usually do a little ball handling routine, and then a little bit of finishing, and then I'll work my way out to the 3, but I won't do too much. And then it's usually me and Parker out there and just trying to get some form stuff, get comfortable, and then go in and then just kind of lock in mentally. I think a lot of guys know me as a joking around kind of guy, and off the court I'm pretty loose and funny. I'll try to make jokes or be silly, but like when it comes to game time, like I just like turn on different gear, and it's just something like different person almost. Like I won't joke around like I usually do. It's just kind of laser focused on the goal.
We're talking with Bill Wampler Jr. on the Wright State University basketball team here on the Scott Nagy Show. And, Coach, we've learned something here tonight. We can probably get some fashion tips, and maybe I can take that before each game, do something with my hair to make ourselves look a little bit better for the broadcast.
Well, it's one thing for one guy to say that, but virtually every player, when they're asked who the best dressed is, it's, unless I've missed something, it's Bill Wampler. And then they show a picture of you up there in your, your best dressed outfit.
I usually I'll dress up for every home game too. So that's kind of like, I can't do it so much at away games because I don't think Coach Nagy would appreciate that. But I do it for home games because I know I can walk out and Coach Nagy, I just sneak by Coach Nagy where he doesn't see me. But
well, you're having a fantastic start to your season. I mean, I think you've settled down. I think the best is yet to come. I think we're going to see a different Bill Wampler once we get into the season, and we're so happy you're here. Good job
it's great
tonight.
to be here. It's always fun to be here.
Bill, thank you very much. Please come back again during the season because you know what? I looked at the time right now. I'm over for a break, but it's great conversation. You're right. You are a good talker. All right, Bill Wampler Jr. with Wright State basketball joining us here tonight. Up next, it's a freshman, also from the state of Wisconsin, Grant Basile. He'll be with us when we return to Flyboys in Beaver Creek. This is Wright State University basketball.
What does it mean to be a pioneer, reaching your full potential? It means being bold. No, bigger than bold, monumental. Where would we be if we ceased at the first "you can't do that"? How would we advance if we stopped in our tracks every time we heard "hey you, move back"? We develop thick skin when opposition wishes we'd stay soft. Against resistance, our persistence will pay off. At Wright State, our goal remains central. We are the pioneers of potential.
Along with Hall of Fame coach Jim Brown, we are back for our final segment. Heading up to the 7 o'clock hour, talking about Wright State basketball. Wright State taking on the Miami Redhawks this Wednesday. It is a 7 o'clock tip at Wright State University's Nutter Center. Hope to see you out there before the Raiders take off again and play Kent State on Saturday afternoon. And with us right now, as promised, another member of this Raiders team from the state of Wisconsin, Grant Basile. He's a true freshman. And Grant, now you saw how it's done, from Bill Wampler right there. It's true. You might want to move that mic a little bit closer so we can hear you. Is the fact that he probably is the best talker on this team, correct?
Yeah, I would say so. Bill can talk about just about anything, just like he can wear just about anything. He's a pretty diverse guy.
Has he been helpful to you in your freshman year? Now, it's his first full season here after sitting out last year, but, you guys, a couple of guys from Wisconsin, some things in common to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. Bill's been great. All of them have been great. All the upperclassmen, especially, they've just been helping us out. And even, the younger guys, like James and Jalen, they were here, and we live with them, so they're showing us around. And just everybody's been really good helping us out.
For you, what's it been like? I talked to you in the preseason practices, first time I had a chance to meet you since we were up in your high school last year and we were coming from Green Bay to Milwaukee. But you said, the physicality of this game and also the speed. Talk about the adjustment for you since coming here.
The adjustment has been big. Just the physicality part, came in at about 205 pounds, so I'm up to about 225 now, so that's helped me adjust to the physicality. And then just that speed of play is just a big difference. You get less dribbles, and I just need to be more confident out there. So. You
come here with a lot of skills, too. Your father was your coach at Pewaukee High School near Milwaukee.
Yeah, he coached for 6 years. He coached me all throughout high school, so that was pretty cool, pretty special moment, especially my senior year. So he stepped down just now after I left to be able to watch and support me here. So, yeah. He
was talking to him last year, and he said, we were talking earlier about, with Coach Nagy about you have to separate being a coach, and a father. What was it like, playing for your dad in high school?
Yeah. I got a little worse than other kids. He was hard on me. I took a lot of the blame, but that was all part of it. Yeah, he wanted to coach me hard so I could be a better player in the future.
How was your mom then? Was she like the support when your dad got on you?
Yeah, she was. She got mad at him sometimes, but that's all part of it.
Talk about Pewaukee. I didn't realize this when, as Chris said, we played up at Green Bay last year, and we were on our way to Milwaukee, and we stopped at your school and practiced. And I remember talking to you how excited you were about coming to Wright State, and that was great. But I didn't realize this, but there's a couple famous players from your high school that people out here would identify with.
Yeah, there's a couple. We got J.J. Watt, Derek Watt, and T.J. Watt, all three former Pewaukee Pirates playing in the NFL. So
yeah, it's amazing.
And you were the better athlete, right?
I can't say that for sure.
What was it like, in high school in Wisconsin? It's probably a lot different than what we deal with here. We talk about the weather, people complain about it, but it pretty much snow is on the ground all the time, during the wintertime when you're playing basketball.
Yeah, we had a game canceled each year in my high school career just because of snow on the ground, like a snow game. It was canceled. We just have different things, like going to school, you have to get up 15 minutes earlier just to wipe off your car, make sure there's no ice on it, and just you got to be careful on the road. So.
Do they have many days where they cancel school up there because they have that type of weather all the time?
You need 12+ inches of snow.
Yeah, we get 2 inches here and they cancel school. Up there, you get 12 inches and you still got to go, right?
Yeah, we didn't get many snow days. It was more, if it really came down, it was a blizzard, you weren't going. But.
Well, you're being redshirted this year, which means that you have to sit out this year and have 4 years of eligibility after that. Is that something that you thought might happen when you were recruited, or is something this happened after you got here? I know you have an ankle issue that needs some attention, but talk about that process.
Yeah, so that process, I came in not really knowing what to expect. I got a lot better in my senior year compared to my junior year when I committed here. So we didn't really know what was the plan. Obviously, I came in here trying to hope to play. And then in my last high school game, I hurt my ankle, and that's been nagging me since, so we need to take care of that too. But I'll just want to use this redshirt year to get stronger and get adjusted, and hopefully it turns into one like Loudon had.
Yeah, it's a long year. Bill went through it last year. Loudon went through it. Cole Gentry went through it. There's, 3 of your teammates went through it, and it's no fun to go through it, no question about it. But I think for big guys, it's a tremendous benefit because big guys, it takes them a little bit longer, and you're skilled. I've watched enough of practice to know that you're very, very skilled. And I think in talking to Coach Nagy, one of his things that he wanted to see you get better at was being able to defend multiple positions. I know all through high school you defended the center. He wants you to be able to go out and defend a 4.
Yeah, for sure. I just need to get quicker out there. Guarding the 4 will be a big thing, and hopefully getting to a point where I'm like Parker and I can switch 1 through 5. So that would help us.
Yeah, Parker, you know, he's a commodity that can do that. I mean, in fact, the other day he got stuck on the Barnes kid.
Yeah.
Now the kid made his shot, but Parker made it tough on him. I mean, he made him shoot a fadeaway to get the shot off, and Parker, you know, went through the same thing. Parker's another one that redshirted. So I mean, there's 4 of them on our team.
Yeah, for sure. Just Parker, like I remember the exact play you're talking about, Barnes in the corner. Like he said he's just got a lot more confidence out there. He kind of picks up tendencies, and our coaches do a great job giving us scouts, so it helps that we kind of know tendencies of other players.
How's the basketball compared? I mean, I'm sure you've talked to Skylar and Malachi and some of these guys from other states. How's the basketball in Wisconsin compared to, you know, I don't know how much you've seen in Ohio or Kentucky, but you certainly talk to those guys. I'm sure Skylar talks about how great it is in Kentucky, and the guys talk about how great it is in Illinois. But what's the basketball like in Wisconsin?
We have some great players. We obviously talk, me, Malachi, and Skylar, we all kind of rub each other and say, oh, our team would have beat yours and all that. We all came from great high school teams. So Wisconsin basketball is really good. I think people are starting to realize that. They're starting to recruit a little more in that area. And
you know, I've always known it was good. We had one of the guards on our national championship team, Anthony Bias, was from Milwaukee. I've known Wisconsin basketball is really good. You just look at the school at Wisconsin University, the number of players they recruit from that state. And, you know, it's funny. To me, you would be a perfect – I'm glad you came to Wright State, okay? But you have the skill set that Wisconsin has lived on. Wouldn't you agree with that? I mean,
yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously that's just one thing. I'm glad I'm here. But just kind of if we ever play them, I kind of want to stick it to them, you know. Just let them
tell Coach Nagy to schedule them. We played Wisconsin, we played Wisconsin twice, once up there and once here, and had good games with them both times.
Yeah, for sure.
We're talking with Grant Basili, a freshman here at Wright State University. And, you know, Grant, you talked with Coach Brown a few moments about your senior year in high school. Talk a little bit about that. You know, this was going to be your final year, you know, in high school. What a great season that you had. Talk about how far your team got.
So we made it the game before state. We lost to a good Milwaukee, Washington team. They had some talented players. But it was a fun year. We started 5 seniors throughout the year, so that was pretty cool. Playing since those guys since 4th grade, so it was a pretty fun experience, and we wanted to win a gold ball, but we didn't quite get there.
You stay in contact with these guys, being that close on that team for so long?
Yeah, for sure. We talk every day still. We're all really close.
Be a fun trip when we head up to Milwaukee and Green Bay, right?
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people there. A lot of my friends actually go to Milwaukee, so they're kind of saying they'll get some chants ready, but.
I know your dad wants to watch now. Was that one of the reasons why he decided not to coach anymore?
Yeah, it'd just be easier for him. And then my little sisters are getting older. They're 5 and 6, so they'll be able to be a part of their sports when they start getting older too.
5 and 6 years old?
Yeah.
Well, you must be like a giant to them.
Yeah, they're small, and they obviously love watching, so they'll be here too.
Talk a little bit about, you had a spectacular game last year. I know I have a friend that followed you and tweeted me every time you had a game, but you had, I think, 42 points in the game, 41, 42, something like that.
Yeah, I have 49 against
49, I'm sorry.
All right, let's shortchange him, Coach.
Shortchanged him. 49 points.
Yeah, so that was just a game where we kind of needed a little spark, and I had that, but a kid on the other team had 49 too, so we ended up winning. That's all that mattered.
That's exactly right. How many? I mean, what's the most rebounds too? You've had a couple games where you had a lot of rebounds.
I had 20 plus a couple of times, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
What's it like with these guys? You talked with the freshmen, you know, just kiddingly about the best basketball in Wisconsin, Kentucky, you know, Illinois, but getting to know everybody else. When you first came on campus, you know, some people reached out to you and you were able to get to them. The transition is really difficult. What's it been like with these guys? I mean, it's truly a family atmosphere around here.
Yeah, for sure. That was a big reason I wanted to come here. It's a family. Obviously, like Bill being from Wisconsin, that helps me. But then Malachi's not far from me. Loudon and Cole, they're close. But everyone's just been helpful, and they took me in.
You know, you talked a minute ago with Coach about, you know, redshirting, you know, this year, and you just happened to mention, you know, it worked out for Loudon. Talk to him about that year that he was off, because, you know, he really got himself into shape and really made himself an outstanding player, which he is, and he continues to get better. We just have to remember, he is averaging a double-double right now, you know, and the focus of every defense is on this guy right now, and he has to take, you know, that responsibility, and it's still an adjustment period for him.
Yeah, for sure. He obviously got a lot better even from this year or from last year to this year, and just going against him every day in practice, that'll help me for sure in the long run.
You know, they probably tell you what he did to get himself, into shape and the type of things that you need to work on. It'd be something for you. It's going to be difficult, though, being able to sit there, and watch and not be able to help your teammates.
Yeah, for sure. But just Lou will be great about that, kind of giving me tips about what he did and stuff like that. And then obviously you mentioned all the guys earlier that had done it before I knew them.
What about the seniors, on this team? You talked about Parker a little bit. He's been here 5 years. He paid his own way the first, year or so, and he stayed with it and continued to get, much better and better and better. And he's a guy that you can really soak up some knowledge from.
Yeah, for sure. He's been great, just being another big, and he does a lot of good things. And then Mark, he's been here 4 years. He's our best defender right now, so just all those guys. And then Adam Giles, he helps in the weight room too, so.
He's a tough kid, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a really tough kid.
He'll push you around a little bit, won't he?
Yeah, if you're not looking, he'll catch you with an elbow on accident. And it won't feel good.
He's really modest. I mean, he was a three-sport star here locally at Miamisburg. He played baseball, basketball, and football. But we talk about Alan Vest, and the attitude which he takes. Adam is the same way. I mean, he comes to practice prepared every time, and it helps the team prepare for the next game.
Yeah, for sure. Alan's another guy that's helped me a lot, just being with his mindset of just anything to help the team, and that's what he does, and he's obviously playing really well at a high level right now.
Well, Grant, we've run out of time. I was told by Bill in the scouting report you'd be a little nervous, but I thought you did really well here tonight.
All right.
All right, good for the freshmen. Hey, folks, thanks for coming out tonight. We are out of time. Again, we'll be back next week from 6 until 7 with another edition of the Scott Nagy Show. Coach Brown, we'll be seeing you for the game Wednesday against Miami. Grant, we'll see you out there also. We hope we see you fans also at the Nutter Center rooting on the Raiders this coming Wednesday. This edition of the Scott Nagy Show from Flyboys in Beaver Creek. Thank you very much. This is Wright State University basketball.